Test, 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 test. Buy some time. Yeah, we good. All right. What if he is an undertaker? The chat's already got pretty deep. I feel like we're getting
what's happening in the chat?
Metaphysical in there. Of like waking up dead. We all wake up dying, right?
We're in a constant state of dying since we were born.
But then again, if this is not the actual reality, it's not really dying, right? Because energy can't be destroyed; it can only be transformed.
I don't know that one.
What if we make a copy of ourselves? What if the body is? What if we're not the body?
You go deep on the metaphysical stuff. It always is behind.
I'm feeling very. It was an emotional roller coaster today with this VCR thing I was telling you about.
So what you found an old VCR?
I found my Panasonic all-in-one VCR with built-in FM radio, and I was so psyched. And I got it out of the garage. I popped in a tape, and luckily I had a practice tape. I showed you my Star Wars and Animal Olympics VHS. I was not going to use those as guinea pigs, but I did have a Phantom Menace VHS laying around.
Yeah, like
carbon copy. I was like, I tried that, wasn't working. Did the tracking trick, and then it told me you need to clean your heads. I was like, okay, I will clean my head. So I'm getting ready to go on Amazon and clean the heads. I was like, let me set the VCR time, because that's how I got into technology to begin with. I was the only kid that know how to stop people's VCRs and microwaves from blinking 12. That was my first troubleshooting.
Oh, you're that guy.
Yeah. So of course I fixed the clock right away. And then all of a sudden Phantom Menace starts playing. Clean. Now I did remember, now I know what 1080 HD means, because it was not that.
There's no such thing as 1080 HD tape.
No. So it's just like, it still looked a little fuzzy, but that's how it always looked. So I'm like, cool, this is working. So I let it run during all my meetings. I'm letting it flow. What's up, tubes? I'm letting it run. I'm letting it flow. And I'm like, okay, cool. Watch the entire movie. Press stop. Eject. Of course, the tape gets stuck, right? But being old school IT, you just jimmy the flap a little bit, pull it out.
Yeah, you get the tape off of the spindle.
Yeah, get it off the spindle, and then got it in. It was good. And then I do a little extra so the folded is not going back in. I'm like, let me put it back in. Be kind, rewind even to myself. Although Quentin Tarantino says only rewind it halfway now. And I got to find out the science behind that. So anyway, I put it in, go to press rewind, and all of a sudden you just heard a click. And then nothing happened. So then I go to eject. It said, no, a cassette is in there. But my tape was still in there. Then I go to press play, and it says no cassette is in there. So I'm trying to reach and jimmy.
Did you try putting another tape in there?
No, put a tape on tape?
Yeah, put a tape in there to see if it just kind of grabs it or something.
If it grabs,
wakes it up.
Oh, interesting. I did not try that. I tried blunt force trauma, and I could not get it. Like, I lifted it, and it literally just snapped back into place.
Yeah, you got to get the tape sensors to reboot.
Tape on tape action. So it is a self-aware VCR. It did not it literally reminded me of what we're going to talk about, Evil Dead, right? The Necronomicon, when you try to open it, but if you open it wrong, it grabbed it closed. So the Phantom Menace is literally stuck.
How many tapes do you have? Is that your only tape?
No, the only tapes that I had handy were 6. But I actually I take the Disney very serious, because they're the clamshell boxes, and I lock them away in my Disney vault. Kind of like Disney used to did. Buy these before they're all gone. So I have those not accessible. But I had these accessible. They were a little bit of the newer ones. It wasn't the good boxes. It was the one that kind of just, you slide it off. And I just did, again, I didn't want to roll the dice on a good one. Not that Phantom Menace is not good, but that was made in 1999.
There's plenty of copies of Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I thought that was safe. So
I keep extra copies of Titanic on hand just as tester tapes. There's plenty of those, and there's plenty of Jerry Maguire's. You can always find plenty of those if you need a safety tape.
That's exactly that's what you need. You need a safety tape. So I ordered a head cleaner, but called our buddy in town. Well, I think he's our buddy. Did you go to me with me when I went and checked out his shop. He's like in a storage unit, but then if you go back there, he's kind of like Laszlo in Real Genius. Like you go through this side door and there's just like these 5 different offices of nothing but like classic tech.
No, I didn't go there.
Yeah, so he's the VCR repair guy in town. So I'm going to give that a whirl. Last time he did a great job. It's still working. I was like, okay, I need this all in one. I could just get another VCR, but I like the idea that my TV is attached to my VCR. So I never have to worry about getting those RCA jacks, even though I do have some RCA.
Well, you don't accidentally misplace one of them.
Right. So yeah, I was so excited, burned half of my afternoon playing with the tapes, and then burned the other half of the afternoon trying to repair it. But I did not break the tape. I don't want to make it any worse. It could be something. The mechanism's a little tougher because, right, in old VCRs, you can just pop the top off and you can start messing with it. But the all-in-one, it's very difficult to get to.
Oh,
it. Yeah. And as Stu found out in Scream, you can't mess with those CRTs. It's because it's a cathode ray tube. I mean, it can end your life.
Yep.
It can end. It keeps its voltage.
In multiple ways, it could end your life.
It can. So I was like, you can see I scratched up my knuckles a little bit trying to get in there. I even made the classic mistake because I haven't worked on technology, my hands in technology for so long that I left it plugged in. And that could have went wrong really fast. You get, technology does bite. So you do have to be careful. So anyway, that's what really got me down this existential path. Because, again, I was telling you about this Vanilla Ice video that's floating around. And, Anthony, you have some great videos out there. I think you should do this. There's a really good Vanilla Ice video floating around about him telling you that the 90s was the last great generation, and he explains why. And he said it starts and ends with the iPhone and how people get their entertainment, get their communication. It really was a game changer. And he thinks the 90s is going to be the last great generation.
Is it a short?
It's a short.
Oh, I see.
Yep, it is a short. So you can find it. It might even be floating around in the Dos Incredibles if you want to go into the history of finding
Why is everyone so infatuated with the 90s?
Because it was the
found
greatest
it.
decade ever before computers ruined the world.
Really?
You have to realize that in
Can we play it?
2004 the iPhone came out, right?
Okay.
What's happened in pop culture since 2004 to 21?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's a YouTube short.
Pop culture's dead. So the last
Are they gonna ping us for their own video?
We'll see. Let's see. Let's roll the dice. Let us know if we're offline, please.
Yeah.
JJ, if you're out there, Anthony, just let us know if we fall offline.
Yeah.
We got our movies at Blockbuster. We had the neon colors. And they can't come out with anything cool.
Rob Van Winkle's
Since the
spitting
90s.
facts.
If you look at the mall, you go shopping today, and what do you see? You see Air Jordans.
Yeah.
That's 90s.
Yeah.
Even LeBron can't sell a fraction of the shoes that Jordan sells.
Yeah.
He hasn't played basketball in
Shots
50 years.
fired.
Yeah.
And then you have, your Air Force Ones and all your cool shoes and the neon colors and even the fashion with the bikinis and stuff. It's back full force.
Why is everyone
That
so
was it.
infatuated with the 90s?
Because it was the greatest decade.
That was deep.
Yeah. I suppose if the 90s is when you had your greatest success, you would think that was the greatest decade ever,
Yeah.
I enjoy the 90s. They were fun.
Yeah, they were a good time.
But I think people that are big on the 80s think the 90s suck. Like if you were like Mickey Rourke, the wrestler, he hated the 90s.
Oh, that's right. He blamed Nirvana, right?
Right. Nirvana ruined metal.
Yeah, he was
Heavy
just
metal.
trying to have a good time. I think it all just depends because there's usually a genre of music that's associated with one decade. But what if it just depends on what you're focusing on. What if you weren't focusing on grunge? Because hip hop in the 90s was a magical time.
Well, yeah, that's when hip hop went mainstream for me.
Yeah. Versus
It was like the top
grunge.
of the charts.
Are we going to... So it takes at least a decade to start to pass before you start to feel it. So right now we're in the 20s, the Roaring 20s, the sequel, Electric Boogaloo. And now we're recognizing the 90s. Are we going to get that from 2000 to 2010? The aughts? Are we going to get that aughts? Are you going to crave for the
What
aughts?
happened in that decade? I don't recall anything.
That's what he's saying. Is the stuff not sticking? Because it's so fast, it's so disposable. You just grab one and you just move on.
Like, what's your favorite movie from 2001 to 2009?
I mean, you can't really name one, right?
Like
I know there's a lot of great movies.
Maybe Dark Knight. That's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, Dark Knight. that was in there. Yeah, because 2010 only feels like last year. It doesn't feel 13 years ago.
Yeah.
How is that? Yeah, 13 years ago. But yeah, there's something deep going on. I think the Matrix is messing with us. So, but there is good stuff. Good stuff does happen. It just happens faster, and you got to know where to look. We had a great week of entertainment of stuff that dropped this week.
So what was going on? It was CinemaCon.
CinemaCon, yeah.
We should go to CinemaCon. I want to go to CinemaCon and do a show from there from a hotel room.
Yeah, as we speak, I think Nolan's talking about Oppenheimer on stage. I don't think they're doing a screening. I think he's just talking about it.
No, yeah, he would not screen it.
Yeah, which I get it. But the big one is, and you warned me, and I've been trying to avoid them desperately, is The Flash did screen, because you're already starting to get reviews left and right for The Flash.
There's plenty of reviews out there for The Flash.
And the trailer, they dropped a longer trailer. Did this trailer feel more like a Batman movie than a Flash movie? A Batman movie with Flash? Or did it feel more like a Justice? Like, is it strange that it wasn't... I guess it was a little Flash heavy, but they definitely took their time to remind you that there's going to be not one but two Batman in there, and a new Supergirl going to be in there.
Supergirl looks dope.
She looks great.
I was thinking about this, and I feel like every time Batman is in a movie, it becomes a Batman movie.
Right?
That's never not been the case. So it's just, Batman is just such a powerful force, especially for WB. That's their top guy. Been their top guy since '89.
Yeah.
So anytime you put Batman in anything, he just becomes the lead of the movie. Can't be helped.
I didn't notice until I think my second viewing of the trailer that they showed both Batman's different logos. They showed the fatter Ben Affleck one, and then they showed the Tim Burton. I
was watching a breakdown of the trailer, a shot by shot, and there's that one scene. There's that one shot where Michael Keaton has got all the bat suits.
Yes.
If you look at one of them, like the one on the far left, the very first one, it's got the old school Adam West Batman.
Really?
Sign, like it's like a scribble. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. And those are, we did a short on this. Fingers crossed. I want an Adam West and Christopher Reeve post-mortem cameo, deepfake CGI. I just want it. I just feel like I think it would be good for the legacy of the brand. And if they're going to take the time to tie it together, they need to go back and show how deep DC really goes. Like, everyone just automatically assumes Marvel is number one. But DC was shot for a long time. They were ahead of the game with TV and films. There was a 70s Spider-Man show, but that did nowhere near the business that the 60s Batman did.
We had the Incredible Hulk, which was a hit.
Yeah, that was a hit. That was late 70s, early 80s. That was Dukes of Hazzard time. But for the longest time, the tentpole for superhero films was Superman 2. Is it fair to say until the year 2000? Superman 2 was what, 1980?
I believe that's right.
Yeah, because it was 78 was Superman. And it wasn't until the X-Men showed up how many years later in the year 2000 before people like, oh, wow, this is the best superhero movie since Superman 2.
Yeah.
So DC is something that shouldn't be trifled with. And you have so many people. I mean, Vince McMahon's doing it with his own brand. Kathleen Kennedy's doing it with Star Wars. And, even WB, they're trying to fix that, but you have such gold that you're just treating like garbage. Like, why aren't you treating these like crown jewels? These are crown jewels. Batman, Superman, these are crown jewels. Why are you messing with these? So I was pretty psyched to see that James Gunn is not doing that. He is treating them like crown jewels. As much as people gave him heat for the Henry Cavill firing, I think he just didn't want to carry over that weight. But the way he's handling that, the Superman logo is still in there, but having Kara in there for Supergirl take the place of Superman, which was who she's basically taking the role of Superman from the Flashpoint comic book.
Right.
I think he's treating it with the respect it deserves.
So in this universe, they have Supergirl, not Superman.
Yeah.
That's basically the gist, right?
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Looks cool. It looks good. I think the trailer definitely gives away a lot. I think they want to give away a lot if they're screening it this early.
Yeah.
They want folks to know what's happening so folks can show up. But, going back to the Adam West thing, I think that's going to be totally possible here in a few years, right?
Yeah, I hope
I
so.
think Joe Russo was just saying that AI-generated movies will be like 2 years away.
That's unreal.
A fully AI-generated movie, so you could have Adam West, all the Batmans ever. You could even have the Orson Welles Batman movie that was never made.
Oh, that's right.
He had like the screenplay and like test shots for that, right?
I didn't know that. I didn't know Orson Welles was in the game.
Oh yeah, you should look it up. It's he had plans for a Batman movie at one point back in the 50s, before the Adam West show.
Batman. That's awesome.
But we're getting pretty close to the point where AI can just generate the movie for us. They can even put us in the movie. Can you imagine that?
I would like to see it.
You just order. Imagine a version of every movie that you get. You get The Flash delivered to you custom with you in it as well.
So they just have one character that's kind of like just a generico, and you can just, before you press play, you just insert your name and your face, and then it's all of a sudden you're part of the movie.
Yeah, you'll be like you'll have a role, and you can like spot yourself and do the "What's My Time Hollywood" thing. It's like there's your cameo.
Those Incredibles versus Batman. That sounds like it's a
Did
winner.
you see the AI generated pizza commercial?
No. Is the pizza AI, or is it not real pizza?
This is an ad for a pizza because anyway, it's an ad for a pizza commercial. It's a pizza commercial, fully AI generated by a computer. Here, I have it right here. Let me see if I can play it.
Nice
Are you
job
ready
on the
for best
tracking.
pizza of life? Bring friends down to Pepperoni Hug Spot. Our chefs make pizza with heart and special touch. Cheese, pepperoni, vegetable.
I don't know if
or
this is
secret
copyrighted.
things.
Secret things.
Need
Secret
delivery?
things.
Pizza's
So this is
fast.
just a computer just spit this out.
Pizza magic. Eat Pepperoni Hug Spot pizza.
I don't know. They can't get the eating right for some reason.
Oh, they can't get the faces right either.
Computers don't understand eating.
But with more cheese.
Look at their eyes. Oh, man. Their eyes were terrifying. Yeah.
Are you ready for best pizza of
It's
life?
going to take a couple of years
Bring
still.
friends down
So
to
I
Pepperoni
can
Hut.
say, yeah, let's wait a few more years. Are they not going to get to the point where they just don't look like the uncanny valley?
I mean, pretty soon, I'm sure. That's like AI just came out like a month ago, and that's the commercials it's putting out. It's probably going to get better, like rapidly better.
Well, let's put that. JJ requested put that in the retro commercial rotation. Let's throw that in there.
Pizza magic.
But back on Flash, I honestly thought that Ezra Miller was going to be somehow replaced with, like, literally just insert Flash in there and say, can you just modify this person's face a little bit so we can say it's no longer Ezra Miller?
Just put a mustache on him.
Just put a
Like the opposite of Justice League, we're adding a mustache.
Do you
instead of
think there's
removing
you know what would be a good movie? James Gunn having Ezra Miller locked in his basement in a panic room. It's like, you are not getting out of here until this movie's out. then I'm going to let you loose.
That's actually happening right now. That's
because you haven't heard anything
That's a
about Ezra
reality show.
Miller
Oh, yeah.
like at all, right? They said he's getting help.
Yeah.
That's kind of helping him, right? If he's locked in a panic room tied to a chair, getting 3 squares a day, he's fine. You're just like, we're not going to let you do a bunch of weird crap and ruin this movie.
Yeah. They should just move the movie up.
Oh God, people locked in the basement is how this whole thing started.
Oh man.
I'm surprised they didn't move it, because what's coming out in May besides Guardians that they're afraid of? DC usually goes with June. Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, everything was June. The only July DCs are always Batman.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're right that they just didn't roll the dice and just move it up just to get it out there.
Yeah, because next month is pretty crowded, I think. There's a lot coming out next month.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting a little bit of a breather, unless we're going to say Suzu this week. We're getting a little bit of a breather. But do you think the negative stuff, do you think enough time has passed with Ezra Miller that the box office is going to be unaffected by this? Because I don't see anybody boycotting or saying, no, I'm not going to go see this because of him. Like, do you think it's going to affect it negatively? Or do you think enough time has passed?
I think, probably not. There might be some... there might be like some blow up when the movie's coming out. I'm sure that's the press cycle will pick it up and bring it back up. People have short memories, I think. And if you watch the trailer, they never say Ezra Miller is the Flash.
No, they cut him. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
I don't think his name is even on screen at any point.
No.
So they want to make you sure that this is not the Ezra Miller story. This is the Flash.
Which it should, as it should be. I mean, it's sad that everything that kind of went down with it. But again, we talked about this. These celebrities have to stop doing stupid shit and ruining our entertainment. And who's booking these guys? Like, who's doing the background check? People can't even go get a freaking job at a gas station without a background check. How are you getting part of a multi-million-dollar freaking franchise and not doing a background check to, like, you sure he doesn't steal people? I think he steals people.
Has he ever started a cult?
No, so like, why did they not know this?
It's like his third cult. It's like... This could have been predicted.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. We're gonna let that slide and go see the Flash, I guess.
Eric says he sucks being the Flash. Yeah, and that's again, I think he just happened to fall into a great script. I don't think it's necessarily he's not the draw. You can easily move up the guy from the Flash CW show in a great script, and I think it would still work. We're gonna shine up that suit really nice. We're going to give you this nice script, and then you're going to go. But what's crazy about this is Cyborg is not going to be on it. And
he was a big part of this story?
He was in the comic book.
Yeah.
But he was also part of this big story in real life of having a lot of HR issues with Josh Whedon.
Yeah.
Right? So do you think what made them decide, okay, we can pull him out, but we can't pull him out? I guess it is because... his name is the Flash, so he's playing the main role. But
a lot of folks still don't know who Cyborg is. He didn't really, he didn't have a chance to make a big impact in Justice League.
No.
And then Snyder Cut was really just a home video thing.
Man, but
although I heard they're going to play it in the theaters, aren't they? I'd like to go see it in the theater.
I would love to see that in the theater. Yeah. It's funny how they're still heavily relying on something that they're trying to distance themselves from, because they're like, bring back General Zod again.
Yeah,
we're gonna get more Zod again, which I get it. If you got Michael Shannon booked as your main heel, yeah, you're gonna totally do it.
But I guess because Man of Steel was the first DC Universe movie, right?
Yeah.
So I think this gives them an opportunity to reset it if they're going back in time to that event, and then they can just like nuke it and like whoop, Snyderverse never happened, and now it's the Gunverse. And
the Gunverse.
Yeah. Here's what we got. We're switching it over, and they just nip it in the bud. They never existed.
I feel good about what James Gunn's gonna do. Like, is there anything? Did you like both Guardian movies?
They're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, first one was better. Second one's fine. I got no heat with it.
But there's something about what he does in the background. That, remember, they were not going to move on. All the actors signed it saying that if you didn't bring James Gunn back, we weren't doing it. I mean, to have all the actors on the same page like that, do you think there's something to that? To have somebody that's truly a fan that's running? Because we see when you're not a fan. Like, Vince McMahon hates his own product.
Yeah.
He loves it and hates it at the same time, and it shows. Kathleen Kennedy could give a crap about Star Wars. As much as she says she does, doesn't look like she does. James Gunn loves this stuff. He literally is a comic book nerd. Loves this stuff.
Yeah.
There's got to be something to that.
Well, I mean, I think that also if actors want to work with good directors, actors who are smart know they need a good director to help them get their stuff over. Chris Pratt can be Chris Pratt all day, but unless somebody does something with him, he's not Chris Pratt. You know? Someone's got to direct their energy properly. And when you find someone who's good at it and makes good films, I mean, honestly, James Gunn, after Jon Favreau, is the most important person in the MCU.
Very true.
His influence since he came on board has been what they're doing to this day. Every Marvel trailer is Needle Drop City. That's all it is. They've totally taken what he did and it's become. That's why he's an executive producer on those movies. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's just. You don't want to. You remember back when you were a kid and you'd watch like a sequel to a movie and it's like, why was that bad? I don't understand. It wasn't as good as the first one. Then later you find out it's like, oh, because they have different directors and different writers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the reality that actors live in. They know if another writing team, another directing team comes on, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
You know? And they want that sweet, sweet residual cash in their checking account.
Very true. I mean, James Gunn was important for John Cena and Batista. He got the best out of both of them, right? And it's pretty safe to say maybe he should be directing Black Adam. Maybe he should. Hey, let me take a pass at that, will you?
Yeah. I mean, I've said this a lot. Is Rock needs a director that he can work with. He's just doing these things he's doing now are just silly. You know, the Tugboat Captain, and now he's doing Moana. Jumanji. He's just doing all these like really safe, boring IP movies.
He's doing a lot of IP stuff.
And
as long as it has a jungle, The Rock is in.
If it's a jungle, I don't know. I'm all for family entertainment. Someone's got to do it. But do you want? I don't understand the Moana live action remake. This is like AI generated movie almost.
It feels. We don't let things breathe. I just feel like Moana just came out.
Yeah.
So it's that you're already moving into live action.
But why do that? Why not just do Moana 2?
Well, to quote the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, money. Tons of it. And I got it. Disney just rolled up that Brinks truck. Again, there's a lot of non-creative people in powerful positions in a creative industry, and you're going to get this. The non-creatives it's hard to get a Quentin Tarantino that you're so creative, yet you're still willing to basically put the helmet on and juggernaut your way through to make sure your vision gets passed. You don't have a lot of them that are willing to do it. So if somebody's just like giving you free money to like, hey, I hear you like to star in movies with jungles. We got a bunch of those. Sign me up for.
Like half our rides are jungle based. Just come make a Disney ride movie a year.
Did they update that ride to put The Rock in there too? Because don't you get that residual cash if you're part of the theme ride too?
I'm sure.
Right? Because they updated Pirates of the Caribbean to include Johnny Depp.
I'm sure that The Rock's got the best agent cutting his deals. Probably they have to cover his cheat meal every week. He's covered by his contract with
the
Disney.
Rock toast.
Yep. Once a week I get to order my cheat meal on your tab, Disney.
Oh man! But before we close out on Flash, I already put the wish out there. Adam West, Christopher Reeve. Are there any cameos that you're hoping to see? And are you going to look to see what the cameos are before you go see the film?
I mean, I don't care about spoilers anymore. I refuse to be.
You're not going to be bullied.
I'm not going to get bullied into, going to see the movie the second it opens. So if they get spoiled, it gets spoiled. But I heard a rumor about this, and I would like to see this. Is they do the Nick Cage, Tim Burton Superman?
I did hear that rumor too.
So if they squeeze that in there, that'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be.
Nick Cage is having a moment still. So I mean, why not?
Yeah, I still didn't see Renfield yet. I'm a little bummed that it's.
I think it'll be on Peacock here shortly.
It's slipping through the cracks quick. But yeah, let's see. TBD remains to be seen on The Flash.
Rock's ex-wife is his agent. Well, there's his problem.
Oh, yes. That's right. Danny Garcia. She's a bodybuilder, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they co-own the XFL together, too. Which you haven't really heard that much about this season, even though it's literally going on. My son went to a game last week. Remember when the XFL came out when Vince was running it? Whew, man.
Yeah.
I got a spot. Here's my spot.
I feel like that explains a lot. Oh, wait. You got a spot?
Yeah, no. It does explain a lot, but I'm telling you, for some reason, rich people think because they are rich that they are smart.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just not necessarily true. It means you were really good at doing one thing specifically. You were really good at finding an opportunity for one specific thing. So it always drives me crazy when people say, that person's a genius. You might have been just a genius for that one thing, but that doesn't mean you're going to be a genius on every single decision you make. I mean, you might have higher odds, but for the most part, XFL with Vince, the World Bodybuilding Federation, how many of his ideas failed more than they succeeded? Not to doggy pat to jump on Vince on that, but I just think competing with the NFL is going to be really tough, and even knowing with the rock star power. My son told me that there was a bunch of empty seats that were there, so it's going to take some time. But it's not easy. You can't just, if you build it, it will come. You have to earn the trust of the fans. My point is of this whole diatribe is the power is with us. The power is still with the people. Change the channel, turn it off, watch something else. That is how you make a difference in the entertainment world.
Okay. That's what I think I'm going to do to the Rock's movies from now on.
Yeah.
Unless he tries something else. I think his most interesting stuff he's done has been, like, early in his career, he did a few interesting movies. He did Southland Tales, and he did one called Faster, which I think is a really good R-rated sort of revenge movie.
Oh, yeah, I remember Faster.
He did Pain and Gain with Michael Bay, which is probably his best performance to date. And then he's just got a bunch of just weird, softy, generic family entertainment. And if that's what he wants to do, that's fine. But I mean, he's The Rock. I think he should maybe just expand out. He could win an Oscar. He could win an Oscar. He gave up. He has no intention of ever doing that.
No, it doesn't seem like it,
You
but he can.
He could.
Get Shorty too, right?
He was
be cool.
Yeah, he was.
That was the closest that came to like really a stretch from who he really is.
Yeah.
And he was great.
Well, I mean, he was great in Pain and Gain.
Oh yeah, Pain and Gain was another one.
Same with Southland Tales. I mean, he's a good actor. He just plays it so safe. And maybe since he's got a partnership with his ex-wife, they play it pretty safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got to do what's best for the kids. You can't be doing these artsy-fartsy movies for street cred.
Do it for the brand.
You need to make IP that we can sell forever and get checks forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, his kids are probably going to be pretty wealthy.
Yeah.
On the safety of some of these decisions. Do you hit a tier as an actor when all of a sudden you're like, okay, I got to try something new now because like, all right, you have enough money and then it starts to drop down a little bit. It doesn't seem like he's dropped in any kind of popularity.
No one has ever uttered the phrase, I have enough money now. Ever. That's never come out of anyone's mouth.
Then I'm good.
It's just not a thing that happens.
But there is an amount that you could technically say that and be done and live happily ever after.
But I'm saying that the person who achieves that amount would never say that they had enough money.
Yeah, most people blow past that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. So
anyway, we'll see The Flash, I guess,
yeah.
when it comes out.
Well, of course, yeah, I'm going to see it.
But what else happened at CinemaCon? There was all kinds of stuff. They showed, what was it? They showed, didn't they show the Spider-Verse movie?
Did that air?
I think they showed the first 20 minutes of it.
It's coming out next month.
They're turning it into like a Comic-Con style thing, which I think is smart, you know, because they could take this boring trade show where they probably sell like popcorn machines on the trade show floor, you know?
Yeah. I would be more interested in, now that I feel like Comic-Con used to be for films and for comic, and everyone's doing it. Now I feel like everybody's like, we can just do our own Comic-Con. And I think CinemaCon is one of those. There was a first trailer for what we talked about with Rainbow Fright last week that dropped at CinemaCon. The Exorcist Believer conjures its first trailer at CinemaCon. So that just dropped. That's news that just dropped 30 minutes ago. So I have no idea for the good reviews or bad reviews. Again, I'm trying to avoid some of the because Flash stuff is like everywhere now, and it is getting rave reviews across the board. So I don't know what else dropped there. We talked about it. You said you're going to go see Exorcist Believer. If they're going to requel it.
Yeah, I'll see The Exorcist. Sure, I see most things. They'll definitely see The Exorcist remake or sequel boot.
So just so you know, the headline says CinemaCon was just scared shitless by the Exorcist Believer trailer.
Oh boy. Okay, I have to watch it offline here.
That's the title. So I haven't seen if it's dropped yet, if they're waiting. Little Mermaid had some preview there. Dune 2 had some news that dropped there as well. So I have a feeling over the next couple of days we're going to see stuff start to leak out.
Can I point out something? This might be a very living in a simulation moment for you that I need to point out. Someone pointed out that we have a Michael Keaton Batman movie again this year. In the same year, we have an Indiana Jones movie again. We haven't had that since '89.
That was 89.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. His stuff is like poetry. It rhymes. It's always, yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. But yeah, I'd like to. If you want to make a trip to CinemaCon, I'm totally down. Plus,
it's in Vegas.
Yeah, they got to have some crazy theaters. Oh, there's I was going to tell you, there's Screen X Day is this Saturday. Screen X Day is the triple screen, and they're going to show their 4 biggest movies that has been available on Screen X, which is Spider-Man, Top Gun, and I didn't see what the other 2 were. I don't know if that'd be worthy of a road trip. That was not announced at CinemaCon, but that also...
When is that, Saturday?
Saturday, yeah. So it's like a 2-hour drive. Might be worth checking it out for sure. Checking out the screens. I want that 3-screen experience on the wall. But what else in the news? Let's talk about the big one. The one you and I went and saw together last Thursday. Or last Wednesday. No, last Thursday after the show. Evil Dead Rise. Let's bring it up. First reactions were great. Everybody, and I think it's living up to the hype. Like, I saw you slowly as you were giving your walking out of the theater review, right? Because we have the courtesy, walk through the lobbies, don't say anything, respect the spoilers. You don't really start till you actually go through the glass, start getting further away.
Yeah.
And then you start reviewing. I saw you like slowly calculating. Like, yeah, I think they nailed it.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought it delivered on all levels. It was a great idea to finally get it out of the woods in a manner that it still created the same sense of isolation that they were stuck in this high rise, and in a way it felt like a cabin still, because you're still trapped indoors. People always associate Evil Dead with being trapped in a cabin in the woods, but you're really trapped in the cabin. So I think this really recreated the feel really well. The actress that they cast as the lead, I forgot
Chef's
her name.
kiss. Oh, the casting. Hats off to you, casting director of Evil Dead Rise. You really did clobber it. Apparently, I don't know her name off the top of my head. She's big in the show Vikings, and people have been like clamoring for her to get some big role. But she just has this very unique look.
Alyssa Sutherland.
Yes.
Is her name.
Just like with the makeup on, she looks terrifying. With the makeup off, she looks very exotic. I mean, she's beautiful. So I think it made it very easy to like add scary makeup like they did and have this visual like, in the thumbnail. This is the stuff that as you were a little kid, I would be terrified of.
Well, she's got like almost, I don't want to say a Joker-like face, but it's like she's got the really thin features that you can add a lot of stuff here and do a lot with.
And they did.
So she was great. Great casting.
Yeah, and again, hats off to the scene with the peephole. I think that really added to it because, if going to visit family a lot in the Bronx, there's something about those peepholes in those high rises. I'm sure in LA it's the same thing. It makes everything look really distorted. So that conversation that she's having with her young daughter through there was so scary. And then to actually show all the stuff happening in the hallway from that POV of the peephole, that really added to it. And then, like you said, it still felt like you were in a cabin. Again, hats off. What a great idea. the door that leads to the fire escape just happens to be shuttered because the building's condemned.
Yeah.
So there is no escape. So the cabin became that entire floor. Your neighbors became your survival mates.
Yep. And they all walked out of their apartments to see what's going on.
Yeah.
As folks might do when you live in an apartment like that, and you just immediately know, oh, here's the body count right here.
Yeah.
We've got the old guy with the shotgun. We've got the two video game twins.
Yep.
We've got the attractive, nice neighbor. They were all doomed as soon as they appeared on screen. There's no chance.
Yeah. And I didn't know how they were going to do it. And do we want to throw the spoilers warnings up? We haven't said anything spoilery yet, but let's put it up so we can dig a little deeper in here. So I was wondering, they had a lot of kids in this movie. And usually the rule of thumb, right, is don't hurt the kids, don't hurt the animals. And I feel like in the past, since the Babadook, that's kind of been going out the window. But then when you get a movie like this, that's not only horror, but it's known for being gory and bloody and violent. I was like, how are they going to handle this with the kids? And sure enough, they found a way.
Well, I feel like that all went out the window with Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones' whole gimmick was they threw a kid out the window in the first episode.
That's true.
That was basically the jumping off point. So I think we're past that. But I think The Evil Dead, when we talked about the trailer, when we reviewed the trailer, there's a certain aspect about your family because they recreated the original. I see you getting tired. Are we gonna have to do the weird beer time?
Yeah,
early?
no, we'll do it in a minute.
It's all about Ash's sister is possessed, right?
Right.
And he has to deal with his sister, and it's your family. And this one pushes that even further, where it's the mother, the matriarch of the family, the leader. You're like lost, and now the kids are just forced to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. And
Very.
One thing I noticed, the sound mix is loud.
Very loud.
It is extremely loud. There's that one scene where the mother just sort of climbs up on the edge of the bathtub and screams.
Oh, yeah. Blood curling.
It's loud. Now, it will never happen, but I really think that this is like a best sound mix of the year, Oscar contender type sound mix.
I like it.
It's really good.
Draw the line in the sand. Why can't that be a
The
thing?
sound mix in this movie is outstanding. I don't think you're going to hear a better sound mix on it. Maybe on Barbie. That could be the only competition. But no, the sound mix is like... The sound mix is such a huge part of it. Because if you watch the original Evil Dead, it's lo-fi and they did what they could. But what Sam Raimi did in certain parts of that movie is he ducks out the sound entirely. There's absolutely nothing on the soundtrack.
You're right, yeah, because I was looking for songs on some of our shorts for Evil Dead, and there's nothing.
No, I mean, I'm talking like the movie will be playing, and like there's nothing on the movie soundtrack at all. No,
I gotcha.
Not a single sound.
Yeah.
And you'll do that to emphasize, the loud parts that come later. So I think that's always been a big deal.
That is a huge deal. Yeah, because I think you don't realize it. Which, by the way, remind me after this, I got to show you. There's a YouTuber out there, and most of his videos are 1 hour long, and it's 1 hour of silence, occasionally broken up by fill in the blank. And like he'll put in like a fake Spotify ad. He puts in Yoda dying on Legos, and he's getting mega hits. But I digress. I don't want to go on that dirt road right now. I want to stay on this. You're right. There's something about breaking the silence as you're enjoying it. And then it gets super loud, and her screams was
the
definitely
nails
that.
on the scratching on the door.
Oh yes,
the banging on the bones breaking.
Yes,
swallowing glass. Have you heard somebody swallow glass? They do it.
Yeah, you can hear it. You're right, and they showed it, but you can hear it too.
I really think they should make a push for this to be nominated for Best Sound Mix for an Oscar.
Maybe we start it right here, right now. Maybe we just cut this out and we just tag them in it. Because they literally would not expect it. Here's another thing that really added to the terror of this. You were talking about this, of just like you get to the point where it's just like you might not be afraid for you, but you're going to be afraid for somebody you care about. So you have this mother, single mother, with 3 kids that she clearly cares about. And it's a pretty bold choice to all of a sudden say, okay, let's take the mama bear out, and these kids are in a lot of trouble, and the only one that's going to be able to help is their aunt, who's not necessarily into kids. Right? And that whole story outline of she's pregnant, am I going to keep it or am I not going to keep it? Am I going to just make myself a mother? But then she gets put into this situation where she has to be the mother to these 3 kids.
And that's just great writing.
Yeah, that's great.
Because she never, here's the thing, we don't realize it, maybe you realize it, but as the audience, we know she's pregnant. No one else knows she's pregnant the entire film until the demon smells it on her.
Yeah.
She never tells her sister about it.
No, she didn't.
And so we're taken on that journey of her having to like almost accept motherhood or embrace motherhood as becoming the mother to her nieces. It's just great writing. And the script is so tight.
Very
tight.
It
moves well. When they do the references to the old movies, it's not Chewbacca getting a medal. You know what I mean? They're doing it. They're doing it right. They did the eyeball gag, eyeball in the mouth. They did Dead by Dawn. They did the shotgun. They did the chainsaw. And then they threw in the one Bruce Campbell line, "Come get some."
Yep.
Great. Just enough. Just enough.
Yeah. Just to get the pop in the theater.
Yeah, just to get, and they knew the thing is, and this was supposed to go to HBO Max. This was not supposed to go to theaters.
It was going to go to HBO Max directly.
Yeah, this was made for HBO Max, and then someone saw it and be like, "We could make some money on this. Why don't we put this in the theater?" Movies are back, dude. Movies are back.
Yeah, and it's the highest rated, of course, Evil Dead.
I loved
I
loved the opening shot where we get the classic Evil Dead shot, and it's the drone.
That was cool. I was wondering how they were going to do that.
So perfect. Just take the piss out of the old Evil Dead movie right away. It's great.
It found a way, like you said, it started off as a reversal because they did that scene, right? But then you saw something happen that was Evil Dead-y, that happened that was the cold open. Then the trailer the logo comes up out of the water. And instead of saying 1 day later,
was that the best opening title card ever, though?
Oh, so good! It puts you right.
I can't think of a better one.
It puts you right in the mood. Yeah, film wise, that's got to be up there because it raised up when she raised up and has rise in the title. It was just so good. But was this very subtle? Instead of saying 1 day earlier, 1 day later, it said 1 day earlier. Did you expect that? I didn't expect that because I'm like, oh, God. So I thought they were going to do it as they found a way that they're in the cabin. Something was going to happen. It was going to make its way to the city. But the opposite happened. You realize that you're watching the events of a day later.
That's great. That's just awesome writing. Way to subvert our expectations.
Yeah.
That's exactly, you were expecting exactly what the formulaic version of it would be.
Yep.
And instead it did it backwards. That's just great writing.
Yeah, so hats off to them. And they deserve, it's halfway through its first week run, and it's already at almost 50 million. So yeah, that would have been a huge mistake to put it on HBO Max.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's definitely a big screen experience just for the sound mix.
Yeah,
just for the sound mix. And it's a shame that right now it's up against some other movies, so you can't really get this into the large format theaters. They got Super Mario Brothers playing all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I went to go check it out to see if I can see it a second time in XD because I didn't realize that until I was there that this is, you need a large format screen for this. You need a good sound. I didn't realize it, but Super Mario's dominating all of them.
Super Mario Brothers is making so much money.
Yeah, you can't get it in there.
It's crazy that people, again, Chris Pratt has got the cheat codes to the simulation. He got them from Pete Davidson, and now he's got them. Can you imagine?
They just passing him around.
The first time you heard that Super Mario Brothers trailer with his voice, I was just like, ugh. Who wants that?
But yeah, look, and I got no heat with him. I understand, like, he has a place. I love him as Star-Lord and like other stuff, whatever. Anybody could have played him. I hate to say it, but it's true. You could have got, we talked about this, anybody could have played Super Mario and they'd be still having the same effect. It's not like his voice added something to all of a sudden, oh, did you hear the voice performance of Chris Pratt playing Mario?
As Mario.
Yeah, no. I think anybody could have done it. But what do I know? It's already at $500 million. No, actually, it's creeping. It's $100 million away from making $1 billion.
It's about to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
I loved the subtle things that it did. This movie is not a jump scare movie.
No.
And I saw this with Lucciolati as well, and she's very much a jump scare fan. And this is not that. We're just intensely engrossed in what's going on the whole time. It is unrelenting terror.
Yeah.
Like every time, and like you said, you've come to maybe expect that kids and animals are not going to be harmed, but they're harmed in this movie.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
no one is safe.
No one is safe.
No one is safe.
Because you just have to assume the cat in the roof got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we didn't see. I mean, well, that's had they shown the cat getting it, then people would have been really upset. Kill kids all you want, but the cat, no.
And they bounced that kid off the wall.
Can't do that.
Through the peephole. That kid bounced. Like, that was a bad bounce. But you know what this reminds me of? There's a lot of movies that a lot of people watch now, and they're like, that's not really scary. And it probably has a lot to do with the age that you're watching it. But Salem's Lot, the original Salem's Lot, to me had so much terrifying imagery because I saw it at a very impressionable age. But right, like, you see the brother scratching at the window. You see the master, the way he sits up a lot. Like, you see the slow crawls to it. Like you said, there's no jump scares. You're just in a constant state of terror. Like you said, just tense. I welcome it back. I like your theory. Bring it. This is what we need. We need more of there's a place for the jump scares, and I think it's fine. But I think it's more difficult to create this kind of terror. The kind of stuff, like, if you were watching this by yourself and you froze that, like, even when you put the thumbnail up and it was there, I'm like, oh man, that thumbnail's going to be looking at us the entire time. Because that's just, to me, that works. Like, that whole time that this thumbnail's going to be looking at us. That's not easy to do. It is easy to book a jump scare. It's not easy to keep somebody in that heightened state of fear with imagery. And he did that. What else did this director direct? That's what I was going to ask you.
He's done a few small films. Let's look him up. His name is Lee Cornyn, I believe.
Yeah.
Just a second. Pull up the IMDb.
Because I'm really curious what he's got cooking next. Because I was listening to an interview with Bruce Campbell, and they asked him, would you like to direct one? And he's like, no, I've already kind of done it. But Sam's very particular. He likes to pick his guy that's going to do it.
Sam Raimi, for all his talent as a director, he's a great producer.
Fantastic producer.
And people don't, I don't know that he gets enough credit. He puts together great projects, despite, aside from Evil Dead. He did Crawl. Right. He did, I think he produced a lot of those early Japanese horror remakes that were big for a while. I think, okay, so Lee Cornyn, his big movie was The Hole in the Ground.
Hole in the Ground.
That was like a Netflix movie. And other than that, he's done shorts. Looks like he's done shorts, a little bit of TV, not a whole lot.
Ghost Train.
He did those are all shorts. Yeah.
Oh, that was a short, huh?
So he did A Hole in the Ground. That was a Netflix indie. Again, Sam Raimi, man, book and talent. He's like a GM. He's like a GM of what is it, Ghost House Pictures, where he finds this talent and gives them a shot.
I love it, and I love that he's finding a way to make it forward, because this did not feel like a franchise that's tired because of the choices they made. This felt like a whole new. This is going to be a lot of people's first introduction to Evil Dead, not realizing the lineage that it comes from.
Yeah, and I was I was trying to explain to Lucciolati like how it's different. I was like, this is like death metal as a horror movie. Yeah. It's just like screaming in your face, bloody murder, possession, demons, self-mutilation. Type of horror as a horror movie. Because it is, again, it gets lumped in there with the comedic timeline of Evil Dead, where you've got the Ash versus Evil Dead timeline, where he's like, he's the one-liner, the one-liner superhero kind of a character,
Yep.
But in this timeline, it's just brutal, bloody possession. It's like The Exorcist times 10.
I agree. No laughs. There was no laughs in this. Like, you saw it twice. Were there any laughs? Did you spot? I didn't spot. I don't remember any laughs.
There's a couple of funny lines in there, but it's what the demon says.
Yeah.
Yeah, things that the demon says while she's possessed.
Yeah, that's true.
Those are funny, but
it wasn't slapped. I guess you should say it wasn't.
No, they don't do the slapstick comedy
slapstick,
at all.
Yeah.
There's no outright jokes. I love the way they did the book in this one, where it had the teeth that you had to pry it open.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
I love the way they did the recordings on the record this time.
Yep.
Which is just great, because how did they? I think in the last Evil Dead, the Fede Alvarez one, they still did the reel-to-reel player. No one would ever be able to figure out how to even turn that thing on or make it work. So they came up with the idea of doing the records, and the kid wants to be a DJ, and the records don't play at the right speed, so he's got to spin them like a DJ. It's like just great writing.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Yes, it was smart. I won't read the whole quote from him, but I will read what he finished it with. I think Evil Dead Rise is a bloody slash in a new direction and a universe opener. So do you think it's pretty much a slam dunk for an Evil Dead Rise 2?
I see it as well. I see the universe developing there. Here's the thing. Here's what they called out in this movie. There is three books. Did you catch that?
I did. Yep.
There's 3 volumes of the Necronomicon out there. We've just seen one so far.
Right.
So now we've got our hero survivor. What was her name? I can't remember I can't remember any of the characters' names. I guess Lily Sullivan, the actress. Now we've got her as a survivor, and we've got I guess she's going to have a kid, and she's going to have her niece as well. A little bit of a lone wolf and cub kind of situation.
Yep.
Maybe they're going to become Evil Dead hunters, try to find the other 2 copies of the book. Who knows? I think they could do a lot with it. They could really expand the universe. Because if you've got 3 volumes of it, like the next movie could be completely unrelated and just be about another volume that turns up somewhere else, and you could do a 3rd movie about the 3rd volume that turns up somewhere else. Then you have a 4th team up movie.
I like that idea of with multiple books, and then take it to go to a different location. Go to like the Midwest. Go to a cornfield. It's not necessarily a cornfield, but go out to a farm. Right? Evil Dead farms. Just find a way to just get it out there, and just go to different locales. I like that, because the Necronomicon doesn't just have to happen in the woods.
Right.
It could happen anywhere. So I don't know if this is the same. No, this is a different. The set decoration was Gareth Edwards. He did the Meg, but I feel like he's done a lot of good stuff. Because everything was. You're right. Everything was on point. The sound was on point. Cinematography on point. Art direction on point. So it was just all around well done. And it was less than 10 million again, right? What we talked about, right?
I think it was like 15 million, but that's still very cheap.
Still very cheap that they already tripled their money.
Right. And they're going to sell discs, and they're going to it's going to get licensed to play on cable and stuff like that. I don't even know. I don't even know that they've gone fully global yet. This They love Evil Dead in Japan. They love Evil Dead in Europe.
Yeah.
It's probably still got some legs. What's coming out? All we got is Super Mario Brothers and Evil Dead right now. Sisu is not going to make a huge dent. I'm going to go watch it, but it's not going to make a huge dent as far as like
No,
taking
it's not
away.
gonna touch it.
I think word of mouth on Evil Dead will be strong.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
It's got some legs. It could keep going. It's counter programming to Super Mario Brothers.
You totally forgot that there was the Pope Exorcist was even out there, right? With Russell Crowe. You totally forgot that was even out there.
I forgot.
Yeah. And there's we were talking about there's not a whole bunch of stuff coming out in May that are going to interfere with it, right? You got Guardians 3, you got Fast X, and you got Across the Spider-Verse. There's not the Boogeyman comes out.
You mean there's no other horror movies? Because
No
those
other
all
horror.
sound like pretty big movies.
No. There's no other horror movies that could mess with Evil Dead Rise.
Right.
So the Boogeyman comes out on June 2nd. It's got pretty much, clear seas of nothing that's going to really interfere if you want that horror fix for a whole month. So it would be really interesting to see how far they can take this, like cash wise, for sure. So, you know what he did really well too? And again, I guess this is the secret to a good requel. It's a familiar brand, but it felt new, fresh, and different. Like you said, everything was just subtle enough where you couldn't really interfere. It wasn't. They weren't going for the remember berries here at all. You're going to win a lot more new fans with this for sure. There might have been some people that were upset that Ash wasn't in it. There's probably that. That's how far they didn't go for any of those cheap grabs at all. I'm kind of like they had the cameo that Bruce Campbell had in there was so subtle. We didn't even know it till the movie was over.
Yeah, he plays the priest on the record.
Yeah, so they gave the nod without giving the nod, but I wonder if there was a bunch of people that may have been upset with that. But I think for the brand, I think this is the direction to go. Just make it feel like just completely new with a familiar feel. So I'm here for more of it. I'm here for more of it. You want to take a quick break and we'll break out those. We have a special. We haven't done a weird beer in a while. We got a weird beer coming up. And it's a doozy, Judge. So stick around. We'll BRB.
Today, the United States is engaged in a gigantic effort to send men to the moon. For this effort, Pillsbury has developed many special foods. Here is the first one to be made available to the public, Space Food Sticks. To meet the demands of a long space flight, Space Food Sticks had to be a compact, nutritious, high-energy food. That's why they make the perfect between-meal energy snack. Energy for hard play. Energy for hard work. Lasting energy to feel alive. If that sounds better than some of the things your family fills up on between meals, you should try Space Food Sticks for good nutrition and lasting energy in a chewy, tasty snack food. Chocolate, caramel, and peanut butter. About 44 calories. At your grocer's next to the instant breakfast section. Space Food Sticks, the energy snack from U.S. Aerospace Research and Pillsbury.
It's landed. Ideal's new Astrobase has just landed. Look, the space lock is opening. And here comes the astronaut. He's being lowered from the Astrobase into the remote-controlled scout car. The two space probes are being mounted for launching. The car is scanning the area. And there go the space probes. They're calling them back to the Astrobase. Mission accomplished. Ideal's Astrobase and Colonel Macaulay's space helmet are the greatest way to play outer space. You can scan the skies, launch deep space probes, fire rockets, destroy stray meteorites. Ideal's Astrobase is at your favorite toy store. Get your Ideal Astrobase today.
Eldon's new Billy Blastoff. Now he walks.
That's Billy's jet.
The jetpack on Billy's back powers his lunar crawler, runs the space mobile, drives the moon tractor. and makes Billy Blastoff walk. Eldon's Billy Blastoff Space Scout comes with 8 pieces.
8. There's 8 pieces.
Billy Blastoff. Now, he walks.
Now, for every kid who has ever seen a science fiction movie, thrilled to the amazing strength of an out-of-this-world movie monster, comes Great Garloo by Marx. Garloo the Mighty. Garloo the Untamed. Garloo the Terrible. Who can stop him? Who can control this monstrous creature? You can, kids, because Great Garloo by Marx is yours to command. With these battery-operated controls, you can make Garloo go, stop, bend, pick up, turn. Yes, Great Garloo, almost 2 feet tall, will be your faithful servant. You name it, you're the boss. Bring out-of-this-world excitement into your house, kids. Own the most fantastic toy of all. Great Garloo by Marx.
M-A-R-X spells Marx, world's largest toy maker.
Ideal's Robot Commando is here to help you. He's your one-man army. No enemy can destroy him. He fights off tanks, hurls missiles one after another. Even a squadron of planes can't stop him. Robot Commando fires his secret weapon. He takes orders from no one except you.
Forward!
Ideal's Robot Commando is battery operated to obey your command. Adjust the control, speak into the microphone.
Left! Fire!
Ideal's Robot Commando is here to help you. Look for your Robot Commando. He's looking for you.
The Zeroids are here. From the planet Zero, the Zeroids. Zirak, the Zeroid commander, frees himself from his own Zeroid capsule. Advance! Zobor, the Zeroid transporter. Change his Zeroid capsule into a Cosmobile for hauling. Zintar, the Zeroid explorer. Change his Zeroid capsule into a lunar sled. Command the Zeroids to defend. Move forward, backward, and transport. Command the Zeroids from Ideal.
Get close.
You know, it kind of looks like a little bit of that Sammy Guevara in that pic.
That's a young Sammy Guevara picture, actually.
Is it?
No, I don't know.
I was going to say it looks like it. Which, unrelated plug, I've been pretty anti-AEW for many reasons. One being it's struggling creatively, but their AEW All Access show is great.
Oh, I haven't watched them yet.
It's so good. Okay. It's what they should have been doing all along. Okay. Now they accidentally found a way to make you care about about the characters, because nice. I want to see the real people. I don't want to see the characters because they're not good at character building.
Yeah.
But when you see the real Sammy Guevara, you're going to like him a lot more than you do for the character Sammy Guevara.
Nice.
So just an FYI, heads up, very good show.
I do want to see those.
Yes, worth it. All right. Like you saw in that sting, we time for some weird beers, and you found some doozies. I didn't even know these existed until you sent a picture of it. These are made from our friends at Monster Energy, and they're called The Beast Unleashed.
Put them right on the logo there.
Yeah, look at that. So you got 2 here.
So this is Hard Monster.
Yeah.
Hard Monster drink. I thought they banned these types of things.
I thought Monster was going to get banned. Like it itself, I thought was going to be banned. So like, okay, fine. What if we put liquor in it? Like, no, you're going in the wrong direction. So yeah.
So once again, I love these types of drinks. I put these in the category of alcohol you can drink on your lunch break.
Yeah, because if you saw this, you wouldn't know that you were drinking an alcoholic beverage with 6.0. But here we are. You would just think you were. Oh, that's a cool looking energy drink. It's the Beast Unleashed.
I need some energy. I don't have any energy.
How about you're going to get some energy and you're going to have an overwhelming urge to punch a wall?
These things can make you violent. If you mix alcohol and energy drink, I've heard that's not a great idea. That's why they banned Four Loko a few years ago. And now I guess if Monster Energy is doing it, I guess it's legit.
They're filling the void of
Peach
the
Perfect.
Peach Perfect, Mean Green, and Winter Haze.
I've got the Winter Haze over here.
You got the Winter Haze here. There it is.
I'm probably going to drink this one.
All right. I'm going to go with the Mean Green. So let's pop this sucker open and let's crack into it, see what it's made of.
6% alcohol by volume. I think these are sugar-free. So if you're a keto Guido, I think
then
these
pump
are good.
your fist for these drinks.
Brewed by Monster Brewing.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Feast on the Beast. Let's see what we got.
Well.
Wow.
Hey kids. Do you hate the taste of beer, but you want to get drunk? Man. This is going to cause problems, I think.
This is going to cause a lot of problems because this tastes exactly like an energy drink.
It tastes just like a sugar-free Monster.
You're not going to get the alcohol shivers with these at all. Holy smokes!
No, not at all. Now, does this have energy? Because now we're going to have to cut the show early and go to Weird Wednesday if this is going to be the thing. Because wow. Okay, well.
You know, because the most popular drink at a lot of clubs and bars for a long time, right, were Red Bull and vodka.
Yeah. It
just became a thing. So I guess Monster's like, hey, we can put the alcohol directly in it. We can save you mixing it.
But this tastes absolutely no different than a regular Monster.
Yeah. I don't know if I can drink that whole thing. Holy smokes, dude.
I don't think this has energy.
You don't think? You think it's just booze?
It doesn't say anywhere on it.
You don't see ginseng, taurine, pop rocks?
We brewed the smoothest tasting alcohol ever and blended it with our tried and true fruit flavors. I don't think it has energy.
No?
I feel like they would have to tell us. Anyway, but you can drink this on your lunch break. When you're having a rough day at work, and maybe you want to grab a cocktail, you can't just go and have a beer. You can't have a margarita or a vodka tonic or something because it'll smell that on your breath. But if you got a Monster Beast, no, not a Beast.
Yeah, look at that
white haze,
dude. It's just got me thinking. It was so hard to drink as kids. It's so easy now. It's so easy now.
I don't think kids even like to drink that much anymore.
No, and I think that's why they're like, we got to do something. They're not drinking. They're not smoking. They're vaping. This is like vape for beer.
Did you have because you're not like that much of a drinker. Did you, as a kid, were you all trying to get alcohol somehow? Trying to stand in front of the 7-Eleven and ask somebody going in?
Not a ton, but we've tried it, right? You just go in there. You always go to the place that's not going to card you.
Yeah.
And you were grabbing the best tasting stuff because, you didn't really want like liquor. So you're like, you were going for Mad Dog 2020. This looks like orange juice.
Yeah.
But now, like, there's a hard drink for everything.
Yeah.
Hard soda, hard seltzers. Like, you can get hard cream soda. Not Your Dad's root beer is hard root beer. You can get the hard Coca-Colas. Like, they're pre-mixing all these drinks. They're putting the mixtures. You're right. I don't think people are drinking enough, so they're trying to like mix it in advance.
Folks, why won't you drink more?
Oh, dude, if you're an impressionable kid and you got this, yeah, you're done. You're going to be hooked.
You have a cooler full of these at the lake instead of a Bud Lights.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to get a hold of RJ because he did tell me that they had a Mountain Dew one, but I don't know if he found it. Stone Cold needs a beer. It would sell like Mike Tyson's weed. I think Stone Cold does have Broken Skull IPA.
Yeah,
and
he
you're
does
right.
have-
I think it does sell like
I think
Mike
he's got a
Tyson.
couple. I think he's got a couple of beers actually.
Yeah, you're right, and it does. It sells really well. It's actually really hard to get, and we're in Texas. He's just right up the road, and we can't get it. So you're right. Is this going to be like a Logan Paul drink? Like who would? I don't know if Monsters has like the endorsers. Like Red Bull went with like Extreme Sports. You have Bang Energy that went with all the fitness models. I don't know if Monster, aren't they owned by like Coca-Cola?
Who, Monster?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are they their own
It
thing?
says Monster Brewing. I gotta see if the Beast has caffeine.
Yeah, now we gotta say. I'm guessing it does.
I don't know. I mean, I feel awesome at the moment.
Let's see. Dude, you can buy them in like, it looks like an energy drink like package.
Oh, yeah.
Our favorite brand.
All of the Monster Beast will not contain caffeine. Okay, great. So you can drink it.
Okay.
Don't worry, you won't be up on that.
They have a beast finder. You see that? Find a beast near you.
Yeah.
ABV. Well, there's Podcat in the shot. Maybe some cat butt to endorse that. Monster Energy. It doesn't taste like that. You're not really a big energy drink guy, though, are you?
Not really, no.
No, because like even when you're on set,
This will pull in the viewers.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't like to do energy drinks on set. Energy drinks make me a little jittery. I do like on set. I like just a sugar soda.
Okay, just like a straight up Coke or Dr. Pepper.
Big Red.
Big Red.
Big Red.
Okay.
Gotta have when I'm feeling low. I feel like I need a boost. Just reach for the Big Red.
So you just
I don't have them. I don't have them often, but every once in a while, just a Big Red is necessary. And then if I'm feeling extra tired, we'll go with Big Blue.
I've never had Big Blue. There's Big Blue's a thing?
It's delicious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, get yourself one of these, maybe for Joe Bob's next next screening. Get a Big Red and a Big Blue.
Oh, yeah.
Both worth your time. And then, if you want to do the sequel, you can get the Big Peach and the Big Pineapple, which are not as good.
What?
But
I didn't know they had any of these beyond red.
Big Red and Big Blue definitely are worth your time.
Wow. And they just taste like they have a very distinct flavor, right? It's not
It's
like
cream. It's cream soda.
It's cream, but just different colors.
Yeah.
All right, I have to give that a try.
Cream colors.
What did you think? Speaking of that premiere of The Last Drive-In.
It was excellent. I
Yeah.
was preoccupied. I had that shoot the next day in the morning. Had a lot to do, so I was trying to watch and also trying to let myself fall asleep naturally. But when the first movie was zombie, I was like, oh well, this is a good one.
Yeah, you weren't
And it's
into
like,
that.
yeah, because I've seen that so many times.
It was, I was very happy to see it on there.
And I was texting you because when they had that, they had that's the monster working for you, the Beast.
You got the hiccups.
I was watching that one, and I even texted you. It was like, because those zombies were chunky, man. They were not skinny, frail zombies.
Yeah, they were well-fed zombies.
And I was
They
like,
must
where
have ate the
where
whole
were
cast.
you? You had to be in New York around that time when this movie was coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't remember.
Because you got rejected by Fear the Walking Dead for being too big.
Yeah, exactly. It was just it couldn't be a too well-fed zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't see Zombie until many, many years later. Like I saw the GIFs and the pictures of the shark versus the zombie well before I actually saw the whole movie. And then I don't even think you may have originally told me the backstory about it, how Zombie 1 is actually Dawn of the Dead, and this is technically Zombie 2.
Yeah.
In Italy. So yeah, like there's a lot of that I did not know. So, but it was cool to see it. And I don't even, the second movie wasn't pulling me in, and right now I can't even remember what it was. I know I stayed to the end.
Yeah.
I hung in there till the end, but there was a few people online that were unhappy with the direction they went for the set direction of trying to make it look like a late night TV show, and I disagree. Like, I understand, yeah, you're not going to do it every week, but the whole thing was they were trying to make this a season premiere special.
Yeah.
And they were trying to make it special, and they had like 5 guests rotating in and out. But man,
Bobcat Goldthwait was great.
Yeah, and he was pulling no punches too.
Yeah.
He was. Danhausen killed it.
Danhausen was great.
And I told you this, I pitched a show for him live on Twitter, and Shudder liked it. And I'm like, wait a minute. You guys are Shudder. You can make this happen. I'm like, give Danhausen a Pee Wee Playhouse show immediately. And Shudder's like, hell yeah. I was like, well, yeah, that's you. That's you can. Well, maybe it's
Danhausen's Dungeon.
Yeah, Danhausen's Dungeon, right? That's perfect.
Yeah,
you just named it.
So you could have a mailman come over and deliver the mail, like milkman.
Oh man,
sexy neighbor.
There's so much you can do with Danhausen. There's still
a neighbor that's a cowboy for some reason, for reasons unexplained.
I would be a fan of Danhausen doing that for sure. But yeah, so he feels like they're not doing enough with him on AEW. And to me, this proved it, that he came out of that pro wrestling world, naturally dovetailed into this, and it worked. Because, again, he's also made for animation. Would you not watch a Danhausen cartoon?
I could see a Danhausen cartoon working.
Yeah, even if it's a short in there. And
like he could be on the Beetlejuice cartoon.
Yeah. Oh, man. Which did just go into production. Beetlejuice 2 is now officially in production. Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton, to no surprise, and Jenna Ortega.
The working title is Beetlejuice Deuce.
Is it really?
No, but I just came up with that. Beetlejuice Deuce.
That's a great title. The Deuce. Oh man, that is good. But anyway, yeah, I really did enjoy The Last Drive-In, and I'm looking forward to this week's. I think they're doing another theme, but a completely different theme. And I never even come close to guessing the movies. Do you play the guessing game of like guess the movies?
Sometimes when they put out the clues or whatever, but
yeah. I was not even close. I was like, nope, I'm not going to do it. So he's getting a lot. Although I wouldn't call this obscure, but that first one, the second movie, yeah, I would have never guessed in a million years. But speaking of very particular horror, let's talk about what you went and saw. I have not seen it yet. Let's talk about Beau is Afraid. What is Beau afraid of?
Beau is Afraid. Well, have you been seeing the reviews on this movie?
Mm-hmm.
People are pretty. I don't think people are divided. I think people universally kind of hate it. Right? Is that what's going on?
There's people who love it, but there's no in between. You either hate it or love it. I just saw that he came out. Joaquin Phoenix came out and said, "Look, we do not endorse you taking any kind of psychedelics before you see this film. That being said, if you do, please record yourself."
My God. Here's the thing. It's like this movie, just whatever you hear, this is not a bad movie. This is not a bad movie. This is not a poorly made movie. The craftsmanship here is off the chain. This may be one of those instances where no one was there to say, "How about no?" It's 3 hours. It's 3 hours.
It's 3 hours?
It's 3 hours.
Oh, no.
That's wrong. 3 hours of Beau is Afraid. Spans generations and years, lifetimes.
So that's young Beau.
That's young Beau right there. And you can't see him in this photo. We've got 2 other versions of old Beau.
Super tall Beau?
Super tall Beau is the older Beau. But there's just... Basically, the story, the plot, is Beau needs to get to his mom's house.
That's the only thing I could pick up in the trailer, and he doesn't leave, and he's a shut-in, but he can't get to his mom's house.
Beau needs to get to his mom's house, and he's got some issues. He's a bit neurotic. The first 45 minutes of this movie are probably the funniest movie you've ever seen in your life. Like, it's perfect. It's just a parody of like living in Los Angeles, and there's craziness in the streets, you know, and you're alone in this rinky-dink apartment building, and nothing works, and everybody's an a-hole, and it just works so well. Like, there's a part where Beau is just walking home to his apartment from the psychiatrist's office, and he's just casually sidestepping kids with guns, homeless people, naked homeless people, you know, just all kind, like gangs and people that are on psychedelics and dancing in the street. It's just, and he's just like casually going around them, and they just remain, and they end up becoming characters in that first 45 minutes. This movie has like acts. You have the first, there's 1, 2, and 3, and 4 acts. The first 40 minutes of it are great. So great. It's hilarious. You can't tell me this isn't a comedy. This is absolutely a comedy movie. It's meant to be a comedy. Like, I think if you I can't honestly say everybody should sit through the whole 3 hours, because spoiler warning, when you get to the end of this movie, I can see why people are hating it. The end of it is just, yeah, it's something.
So is that when it becomes a horror movie?
It becomes a horror movie from frame 1, depending on what's scary to you. We already did the spoil. There's a giant 6 foot tall penis in this movie that terrorizes people. I'm just saying, like, this movie goes. This is if there's ever been an example of excess and letting a director just do too much of whatever they want, this is probably it. Because there's probably an awesome 2-hour movie here.
Oh man,
there's a spectacular 2-hour movie that could have been Best Picture kind of quality. I guarantee it.
Really,
it's in there. It's the vision here, the craftsmanship, the way, the acting, it's all there. It's just a lot, and it goes on for a lot. And there's a point where the movie, you feel it's over, and it's a great ending. They could have just rolled credits, but then you get like another 5 minutes, and that last 5 minutes is really off-putting. In ways that I can't even explain to you on the internet, because we'll get shut down. But everything that happens before that, there's so many things in this movie that are great. There's a scene, there's a sex scene with Parker Posey and Joaquin Phoenix, and it's set to a Mariah Carey song.
What?
And it's so good. It's so hilarious. It's so well done. Like, there's just like a thing where the song, like, you know, the song is like been playing, and it's like, no, let's start over, and she restarts the whole song, and they start over, and it's so funny. It's so well. There's so much good stuff in this movie. It's just probably would have wanted maybe consulted somebody that you trust, Ari Aster, one of your trusted colleagues, to just give you genuine notes on this. Be like, maybe we could cut this down, because the parts that work great are great. There's an angsty teen in this movie that is like the nightmare angsty teen, teenage daughter that just is it's like the cliche of what a teenage angsty daughter would be on a sitcom, but dialed up to 100.
Oh my God.
It's hard to explain what this movie is. And that's why I think everyone should see it, because it's definitely shot big. Like, it's shot like a big screen experience.
Well, you're right. It doesn't. You can't even zero in on the genre, because it's listed as a surrealist black tragicomedy horror film.
It is a comedy, for sure. It's a comedy. Like I said,
tragicomedy.
I don't think so.
That's what it has a list: surrealist black tragicomedy horror.
I mean, obviously Ari Aster has some mom issues, because they're all over the place in this movie. But again, I can't stress enough
Oh, I had no idea that he did Hereditary and Midsummer.
Yeah.
I didn't know those. Oh, wow.
I can't stress enough how great the first half hour is. It's so good. It's just pitch perfect, done great. There's just there's a homeless person who is stabbing people randomly in the streets, and the news is covering it, and his name is Birthday Suit Stabby Boy is the name of this guy, and they have all the I can't describe it. It does so much. I would just see it. Just watch the first hour and just check out. And the rest, you just watch a YouTube video explainer.
That's what I feel like. I do want to watch it, but I feel like I need to watch it in a couple of parts. I'm still scarred from Babylon. That another movie that probably should have only been 2 hours.
I thought Babylon was good. I think if they had not had so many bodily functions in the first 5 minutes, and there was just an overindulgence of bodily functions throughout the whole movie.
Yeah,
too much.
A 2 hour movie would have been better, and it sounds like Beau is Afraid has a very similar vibe.
Just for the first half hour, dude, it is so perfect. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen in your life, and you're just like, this is supposed to be a horror movie, and it's pitch perfect. It's like Woody Allen type funny, with the way it parodies living in LA. It's so good, but it's 3 hours. I'm not gonna lie, I thought about checking out multiple times, checking my watch, just 2 more hours of this. All right. Because in the second act, it takes a turn where it gets really, really slow and sort of dreamy, and the pace just changes completely.
Man, yeah, 180 minutes, man. That's tough. That's a tough sell.
Yeah.
I didn't even look to see what it did box office wise.
I tell you what, though, if you want to have a better enjoyment of the movie, there's a part about 2 hours and 50 minutes in where it's just this feels like the end of the movie. Maybe I'll just get up and leave now. And you should leave at that point. Just go ahead and leave at that point. Because the last scene is just like the first scene in Babylon. Not in the sense that nobody's pooping on anybody.
Oh, yeah,
but it's just,
a lot of that.
It's just a lot of uncomfortable stuff going on at the very end of the movie, and then
man,
I can't even it's its own thing, man. This movie is its own thing. And honestly, this is what movies should be. We should go to the movies to see this. A unique vision from somebody,
Yeah. Well, he has a good track record. Those two movies, that's got to be enough to get people in. And that's what I'm going to ask you. What are the people who are fans of Hereditary and Midsummer going to think when they show up to that movie?
I think they're going to be disappointed because this is absolutely a comedy. This is a funny movie. So deadpan funny, and there's so many jokes strewn throughout. And then once it gets into the deeply unsettling stuff, it's not horrific. It's family awkwardness.
Oh, man.
It's sex awkwardness, sex horror. It's not for everyone, but this is definitely cinema. Someone taking a big swing to try and make a really huge, unique film that makes you react,
Yeah.
Because I think the very end of this movie is meant to piss you off. It is meant to say, ha, you just sat here for 3 hours and psych. So, and it's 100% trying to do that. So I would say when you get to the point in this movie where it feels like it's over, that's when you should just go ahead and just switch over to whatever, sports or something.
All right. So, but you did. It sounds like you at least enjoyed.
No, I enjoyed
a lot of elements.
I enjoyed the hell out of it. I think it is great. I think that I loved the movie. Honestly, I have nothing bad to say about it other than it might not be everybody's cup of tea.
Fair. It's just that, yeah, and I can see the runtime scaring people off too.
The runtime is intimidating.
And especially, again, if you have that runtime, and you're not going to deliver something worth that end to stick around. It's like, okay, I'm going to stick around for another extra hour. And then
that's the thing, is the ending absolutely it punishes you for sticking around.
Yeah, that's what
it just does it, and it's just you didn't have to do that. We stuck around for you, Ari Aster.
Well, it doesn't. It's not listed, so I think it was a limited release this weekend, right? Well, no, it's that was $35 million budget.
I would say do an A24 cut. Do a different cut of this movie, please. Give us the 1 hour and 45-minute version of this, and I guarantee you it's going to be the biggest hit of the year.
Oh, man.
There's so much hilarious stuff in here.
Visually, it looks great. You love the look of it. Like, the look of it
visually,
looks
it's awesome. Like,
yeah.
it's one of the most visually unique movies of the year for sure. I can't stress enough how funny this movie is. It's hilarious.
Oh, it actually premiered at
Birthday Suit Stabby Boy should be bigger than he's going to be.
Oh, man. All right. Definitely. Joe Bob says, check it out.
Joe Bob says, check it out.
Oh, man. Bill Hader's in it as a UPS guy.
He is. He is, and he doesn't show his face on camera. It's the scene with Bill Hader is mostly on the phone, and it is hilarious. Oh, and it's that I've been watching a lot of videos about Quentin Tarantino for the last few days, or whatever. Just the ability of a great director to make you laugh while they're talking about the most twisted stuff. You know?
Yeah.
You want me to describe the Bill Hader scene to you?
Yes,
is this a spoiler?
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Okay.
We can spoil that.
So here's the thing. The central premise plot of Beau is Afraid is Beau has to go get to his mom's house. He has to visit his mom. It's very difficult because he lives in an urban jungle, which is super dangerous, extremely dangerous where he lives. And, a lot of things going on. But anyway, he has to reschedule his flight, calls his mom. There's just an answer on the other line. And it's like, who's this? Who's this? It's like, I'm just delivering a package. Anyway, the UPS guy says, I just walked in and answered the phone. There's somebody's here missing their head. And they're just like, and he's like, what are you talking about? And you know the way Joaquin Phoenix talks where he's kind of hard to understand?
Yeah.
He like dials that up to 11 in this movie. You can't understand what he's saying for half the movie. And he's just like, is this, and Bill Hader's on the other line of the phone is just like, is this some kind of practical joke? It's like, no. It's like, well, I don't understand what you're saying. He's like, there's a lady here missing their head. It looks like a chandelier fell on her head. And it's just, I'm just delivering a package.
That sounds hilarious.
And it's not played for comedy, but it's still funny. This movie's good. It is worth watching. It's worth your time. But maybe just if you're not in, it might just not be your cup of tea, especially the last 4 minutes.
Well, tell me how accurate the original title, how accurate it is comparing it to the original title, which was Disappointment Boulevard was the original title.
I think if they cut this down to 1 hour, 45 minutes and call it Disappointment Boulevard, it would win Best Picture. That's what I think, honestly. Like, because like John Wick, remember John Wick was like 3 hours, but I didn't see anything you could cut because it was all so good.
Yeah.
This, I don't know what to cut. Someone would have to just cut it and not tell me. And then show me the 1 hour, 45-minute version of Disappointment Boulevard. I think it's going to win Best Picture.
All right. I mean, I'm definitely intrigued. I'm going to have to find a way to see it. Did you know it was A24's most extensive film ever?
It looks like it.
Really?
Yeah, you can tell.
So $35 million. It was released a week early in select IMAX theaters in LA and New York.
Yeah, they definitely going for a big screen look on this.
Wow. And they had a Q&A event that was moderated by Martin Scorsese. So is it possible that this is going to be some kind of award film?
I don't think so. Not in its current state.
No.
It's too fatty. I just think there's too much. It's too much. I think this needed an edit. And I think, like Kevin Smith always tells them that story. He always tells that story about changing the end of Clerks where Dante got shot at the end.
Oh, yeah, yep.
This movie needed that guy.
Really?
To have a chat. It's like, maybe change the ending a little bit and just end it at this one part where he hops in the boat.
Oh, man.
I think that'd be that's a solid ending. Because, yeah. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. A lot of awkward stuff is going on in this movie.
The trailer came off as very awkward. Very visually appealing, but very awkward.
Yeah.
Like you realize that there was some awkwardness going on there.
And it's like the best giant killer penis you've ever seen on a movie. Because I describe it now and you think, oh, that's ridiculous. But no, it's well done. Like it's like the effects are on par.
Oh my God. So it's not a dream. It's not a simulation. This is like the real life for that world.
They never reveal what is a dream and what is not. This movie exists in both worlds simultaneously.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. So that's a little bit intriguing. So
there's a scene where the angsty teen is trying to peer pressure him in the smoking pot, and it's like the most. There's a lot in this movie that's really good.
It's being described as a Jewish Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Because this movie is huge in scope. He goes it's got acts where he's in one world and he's in another world and he's in another world. Yeah. And then the Mariah Carey scene, and it's just, there's so much that happens in this movie. I think I'm already just naturally imposed to be impatient just because of social media has boosted my ADD. But I was checking my watch to see how much time was left. I enjoyed all of it.
Oh, man. I was trying to find some put them on the spot reviews because Hefe went and saw it. Emax went and saw it.
Who saw it?
Hefe went and saw it, and which is shocked because he's like, oh yeah, I was at the movies. I went and saw Beau is Afraid, and he gave me the gist of it. Where is it?
Did he like it?
It sounds like he did.
It's the only way. If you're like a cinemaphile, if you're a movie head, you're gonna like it because it's definitely a movie, and it's not like bad. The folks who are reacting poorly to it is because the end of the movie is a middle finger to you for watching it. It's just like that was unnecessary, but
dang, I can't find it.
It's quality.
Yeah. All right. I'll find a way to check it out. Again, it might have to be a home viewing, but I will find a way to check it out one way or another. It sounds like it would be nice to have the ability to hit pause and kind of get through certain acts.
Yeah, because the middle is very slow. The middle is like the first act is on speed. The second act is definitely on tranquilizers or something. It just gets really, really mellow and trippy and slow. It's almost as if he's just accentuating the fact that second acts in movies usually get slow, and he makes it really slow.
What about a six episode limited series?
It's not cohesive enough to do that.
To even do that?
You would just be watching garbled nonsense, 30-minute segments.
So you got to limp your way through. Gonna have to find a way. All right, let's find a way. Cool.
You'll like it. You'll like it.
It sounds like I like as much as I complain about Babylon, there was a lot in Babylon that I did like.
I would say it's better than Babylon.
Okay.
Babylon had no sense of humor about itself.
No.
It took itself way too seriously. This movie is goofing off the whole time. And there's so many like hidden jokes in the background, and just like just random characters that are in this for no. There's like a Vietnam vet who's PTSD'd the whole time, and they're always trying to like keep him calm with pills, or he's gonna hurt somebody.
Oh my god.
Nathan Lane and Amy Ryan from The Office are in it as like these like super liberal suburban people who want to save everybody. You know, they end up helping Beau. Yeah, there's a brown recluse spider who's a big character. There's just a lot going on, man. It's good.
Everything you're describing to me, other than the runtime, sounds really fun. Like it does sound like something that. You think this is going to age well? It sounds like it may age well.
I could see this aging well for, because it's when it becomes a late night viewer on cable, when folks are on their own, medicines, their home medicinals, and watching this late night at home. I could see this really like getting a bigger following because again, it's so funny. It's just so funny that I don't think the trailer tries to make it seem like it's funny, but it's just like Joaquin Phoenix falling over. The way that they set up the world he lives in is like the best 30 minutes of a movie that I've seen in a while.
There was a headline here that Joaquin Phoenix was annoying the director by constantly fainting. And I don't know if he was just living his gimmick, because he lives in a state of paranoia, right?
Yeah.
So I guess maybe he was going method and he just kept constantly fainting.
Well, that's great acting.
Yes,
if you can faint on command.
Oh man, that sounds good.
Yeah, go see it.
Cool. All right, man. You want to take a quick break, and then we'll do a couple of go home spots, and we'll call it a night.
All right, man.
Cool. BRB.
thirst to win. Only one soda gives you that extra oomph you need to be your best. Oomph Cola, packed with ginseng, taurine, and Pop Rocks. With the power of Pop Rocks and Cola combined, your stomach lining will be ripped apart by tiny pockets of carbon dioxide. But not before sweet victory. Oomph Cola and Pop Rocks. The deadly soft drink with a taste that's fantastic.
Oh, wrong one.
Oh, man. Sorry, I was marking out a little bit here.
What, on the Oomph Cola commercial?
The New York Knicks have advanced.
Nice.
In the NBA playoffs. Finally, Jesse, if you're watching, it just feels like, a New York basketball team shouldn't be in the gutter since the 90s, but here they are. But yeah, they pulled it off, so congrats to the Knickerbockers. They didn't get to go to a game this year, so sorry, got totally distracted on that. Speaking of marking out, let's talk about the big news that happened on Monday Night Raw. It just happened to coincide with Triple H saying he's going to make a blockbuster announcement that's going to shake the foundation of the business. So you can tell Vince is back to adding his adjectives to trying to put over something that may not as big. But then they thought, wow, they're in Chicago. Maybe they were going to be big. And then there was rumors of CM Punk was on the plane with a few of the wrestlers. And then CM Punk appearing backstage at WWE and he cleared the air with The Miz. So they got rid of their heat. And then the rumor was he had some words with Triple H. Not like an argument, but like, hey, can I have 2 minutes of your time? They wanted to talk. And then he said, I got to clear it with Vince. And then apparently Vince didn't give the clearance. And then they sent security to ask him to leave after a little while. Although he was there for a little bit of while, which it's not uncommon for when you come to a wrestler's town that they're going to visit a lot of their friends. So it wasn't uncommon. But what made this a little unusual is the timing, right? Because CM Punk has not officially returned to wrestling, and there was the whole rumors of his buyout. And then there was footage, but it was like leaked footage. And that's what I was asking. He was talking to Tamina in the parking lot, and he was way away from the dressing room. So you didn't know if it was an angle or if it was going to be not an invasion, or was he trying to work his contract and seeing what his options are?
What do you think it was?
I think he was just visiting the crew, and I think he learned a lot from the Scrum Ride from Hell, and I think now he's on the other side of his stardom, so to speak, that he's been a star for so long, and you start to reflect and look back, and I think he maybe is starting to feel a little bit like maybe I need to make peace with Triple H. Why do I really need to carry this grudge? I think he's, professional maturity, we all should be maturing as he's starting to realize that he got a lot from WWE. He got a lot from AEW, and I think he was really trying to make peace. I don't know if he was necessarily working his angle of his contract, but also at the same time, it doesn't hurt to let Tony Khan know that he potentially could have options if the contracts weren't renewed. Or maybe he's really trying to find his love of the sport again. I think it was probably the truth is a little bit of all of that.
The thing is, because we're on this side of things, and you've actually been there, and you have more of an understanding of how things work. We're all predisposed to think that he wouldn't be welcome at WWE.
Yeah.
But do you think that's not true?
That's definitely not true. Yeah, Anthony said CM Punk remorse, possibly. But no, you know why it's not true? Because Vince and Bruno were at war, literally at war. Hogan testified against Vince. There's so many different incidents it's very hard to burn that bridge. And especially if you're literally the one that takes the time to reach out and make peace and realize if there's a potential to somehow do business, you're going to find a way to do business. Now, I always thought it was going to be a little bit different because Vince always had his way of forgiving whoever and doing what's best for business. But it sounds like he instilled that in Triple H because it sounded like it was very cordial. So I think it was a little bit of all of that. And I think he was going to be welcome because he still has a lot of friends there. A lot of friends. And not even the friends on camera, the friends behind the scenes too. So as much as you hear a lot of people say, people were curious about like Seth Rollins, how he kind of came out and says you're a cancer and all that. It's really hard when you get people at the level of Seth Rollins and CM Punk that you can't tell who's working who, right? Like, would he do a legit shoot interview, or was he Seth freaking Rollins being Seth freaking Rollins, and that's what Seth freaking Rollins would say? But what would Seth Rollins really say? We'll never know because that's just going to be between PJ Black and Phil Brooks. So I think he would always be welcome, and there were some people that might look at him cross-eyed, and there would be some people that would be totally fine with it. I think that's going to be the truth in both locker rooms. But the problem is in the other locker room, the ones that it's not true with are EVPs. So I think he's, whether you like him or don't like him, whatever, I think he's good for the sport. If you're interested in the wrestlers making money and selling tickets, then I think he's really good for the sport.
I mean, yeah. So what do you think happened here? He went to go visit his pals.
Yeah, they were right there in Chicago.
He went to go visit his pals. And then, but here's the thing. Had they been in Chicago before, why would he have not done this before?
They haven't, not that I know of. I know they haven't been in Chicago for a while, but they have been in Chicago before. Yeah, for Cody in the steel cage match. Yeah. The only difference then was he was an active competitor for AEW. He is not an active roster member right now. He's just a talent under contract. Right. Which they have a lot of those. Like, when was the last time you saw Big Show? He's a talent under contract. He can go anywhere and you wouldn't even know it. The other times he was actively on TV. So I think that's the only difference before. And before that, no, because I still think he was not at peace with the business at that time. So he wouldn't have even bothered to show up. The people who were his friends, he would text. But if anything, WWE could have thanked him for ratings. Yeah. Because if you think that blockbuster announcement and turned out to be CM Punk showing up in Chicago and say what a difference a year makes, man, what a shot of adrenaline for both AEW and WWE. That's shot fired. That would have that same when Cody showed up. Like all of a sudden Punk's there, because with a different layer of it, because now you're like, wow, he talked crap about Vince, Stephanie, Triple H, the roster, and him showing up would change everything. Seth Rollins just had those very public comments on there. It would have been a great ratings grabber, because right now that Vince is secretly running things, it's starting to be crappy again, and they need something good like this. So we'll see. But the rumor of CM Punk getting his own show and then having a third wrestling show and have it as a different brand, does that sound more appealing to you than CM Punk showing up on the WWE draft?
No, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Having a third,
a third AEW show sounds okay to me because they have a lot of people that they can move around. A CM Punk show does not sound good to me, because here's the thing: when he comes back to AEW, he's going to be a full-on heel and he's going to get a lot of heat. Yeah, folks are not going to welcome him back with open arms. I don't think so. Whereas if he did make an appearance at WWE, they would welcome him back with open arms immediately. Yeah. So he's in that spot.
Well, the rumor is he's coming back and he's going to be working with Chris Jericho if everything could come to terms, and he might have a FTR kind of like at his side. And I think he would be fine coming back as a heel. Yeah. I think he would find a way to turn it into good heat. Yeah. I think he would turn it into really good heat. So, unlike, did you see on, was it Wendy's Day or International Roast Day they announced Wendy's. They just basically had the Wendy's avatar on TikTok, and she was roasting people.
No.
And she was just roasting everybody. So, like, you can just kind of engage with this Wendy's AI, which was basically just going to roast you. And Baron Corbin did. And they're like, oh, you've been Baron Corbin, you've been Happy Corbin. Maybe you should just officially change your name to Bathroom Break Corbin. I was like, oh my God. It's like, wow.
Damn, Wendy is savage.
I know, yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I don't think Punk's ever going to have bad heat. I don't think people are ever going to boycott because CM Punk's there. I think they're going to find a way to whoever faces CM Punk is going to become, like you said, is going to become a big time baby face. Wendy's is a heel in fast food, Anthony. You're 100% right. Wendy's is a full on fiery redhead. Fiery redhead, more heat than Sheamus and Becky Lynch combined.
There's absolutely no doubt, though, that CM Punk, we forget, because Scrum Ride from Hell, he sort of nuked himself. It was like CM Punk got super hammered at a party one time and made a fool of himself, you know?
Yeah.
It's like your friend did that. It was, oh, man, said a lot of mean stuff, made fun of your clothes, or like, you know, told you were fat because they got hammered, you know? And so he's got that awkwardness now with the wrestling community. You know? He broke their hearts. But he could get it back. He can get it back.
It's strange that I know it's because the way he handled it and stuff, but it's that thin line between being right and being righteous. Because what he did say, was he wrong, or was he wrong on the way he handled it? And that's what's beyond. So it's beyond the issue of whether he was right or wrong. It was just like he was wrong in the way he handled it.
Yeah.
So
and was that the right place to drop all that?
Yeah. It was definitely shocking.
Yeah. It was shocking. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, for sure.
So
would you rather him come back and be hard on his sleeve, apologize, I'm going to win you back one match at a time? Or would you rather him come back as a heel saying,
well, I mean, he has to
guys.
come back as a heel, yes. There's just, if he comes back, maybe he comes back, apology, hard on his sleeve, and when he gets booed, he turns immediately. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
is he going to get booed if the Bucks and Omega fans aren't there?
I think he's going to get 50-50.
He's going to get 50-50?
I think he's going to get 50-50 because I think that right now, he's a divisive figure. Half of the crowd, half of the folks, half of the fans are still with Punk. Other half are annoyed with him for blowing up their favorite wrestling organization.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and those are probably the same fans that turned on Cody.
Yeah.
Right? And now look at Cody. He's probably arguably the biggest star in the world. Whether Vince is going to destroy him in Puerto Rico or not give him the win, he's still the ratings grabber now. Is there any bigger star in WWE than Cody? As far as like babyface, somebody you can hang your hat on like John Cena? I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
Did you see the news about the new world title belt?
I mean, I saw images of it. I don't, you know.
Yeah, so can you admit they have the new world title belt and CM Punk comes out with the new belt? That was the rumor, and that would have been nuts, right?
Yeah.
He never lost the AEW belt, so they just make a belt that looks like the AEW belt, and we're going to give it to CM Punk. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a ratings gold when CM Punk comes back for that show.
For sure.
But think about the ratings for Rampage when Punk launched that show.
Yeah.
And now do you even watch Rampage now?
I mean, I catch bits of it when I can.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Superstars.
It is. So maybe a roster split is what they need.
Yeah, sure. They've got plenty of folks. They can tell some stories. They can tell some alternate stories. And, you know, like I was saying, like what I meant to say was CM Punk there's no doubt that he is one of the greatest of all time. The best match that I saw of the AEW live shows that I went to was definitely CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. Seeing it live,
yeah.
and we were very close, so we could see the facials very clearly, what was going on. And just, man, when the crowd was turning on him because he was beating Eddie Kingston and he leaned into it, that's one of the best wrestling moments that I've ever been at live, you know?
Very cool. Yeah, and he knows. I mean, he senses when when the crowd's going, he's not gonna panic. He's gonna go with it and take that heat.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Eddie Kingston is another one that AEW All Access show, which again, it's their best show. It's better. I'd watch that over Dynamite every day. Every day I'd watch it because, again, it feels more. You're getting a little bit more of the behind the scenes, but it feels less contrived, even if they're working it a little bit. Which again, all reality shows are a little bit of a work, right? You know the camera's rolling. If you really didn't want to say something in front of the camera, you're not going to say something in front of the camera. So it's a work. But it doesn't feel like a work. And it's not a work in a sense when like they're showing pictures of Sammy Guevara, you know, when he worked at Subway watching a Bryan Danielson match. And then he's in tears after a match with Bryan because he's like, I used to watch you at Subway, and he said, someday I'm gonna wrestle you, and I got to wrestle you in this great wrestling match. It's creating the effect of Tony Khan doesn't know how to create characters on AEW programming. So this is creating characters, and it's going to make you want to follow.
Probably
them
not
over.
directed by Tony Khan or the Bucks. So
Right.
it's probably got some talented folks behind it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, now you're so interested in what's happening. Like you're getting, well, the Bucks are now, instead of being in charge of the creative, they're part of the storyline on there, and now you're a little bit more interested in that. And you see Eddie, you're getting to see the side of Ty Mello, of just like what's happening in the background, which just like. I used to be a big part of the show. I was working every pay-per-view. I was on the way to be the main event, and they explain, well, you married Sammy. For some reason, you guys kept making out on camera, and it was enough that it turned you, and now they're like a package deal, so she's a little upset that she's not getting this push. It's all the stuff that we're talking about, but now you're seeing them talking about us.
Wow.
Like, this is creating storylines that you want to be interested. Now you're going to be looking a little bit more sharply next time there's a Ty Mello match because of now you know how she really feels because you saw it on All Access.
Wow.
So it works. Total Divas did this, but it was such a...
But now this is actually behind the scenes of an actual wrestling promotion that you're watching. Divas was almost in its own little sandbox. This is behind the scenes of the show you're actually watching week to week.
Right, exactly. You're seeing before the matches, you're seeing after the matches, and you're seeing other matches. Like you see them go on a date to like Dave and Buster's. You get that reality show stuff with it too. But if you just, whatever you're doing, don't lean into it and say, let's do even more now. Just keep doing this and it'd be great. And if you had this show and you saw, now it's not possible because it takes too long to edit and produce. So they're like 8 months behind. Because if CM Punk showed up on this show and then you got to see the behind the scenes of what down with that, that's going to grab so many ratings. Because even if they're on a separate show, eventually these guys are going to have to face each other, right? They're going to have to face each other in the locker room. How can you work for a company with 3 VPs that high up and say, okay, I don't like you, so we're never going to face each other?
I mean, even Stallone's got a reality show now.
Yeah.
It's just part of the gig now.
But it's great for setting up storylines for sure. So definitely check that out. But I think Punk I don't think he's going to WWE. I think he was setting up for going back to WWE someday. That's what this visit was about. Hey, Triple H, can I have 2 minutes of your time? I think it was going to be like, I said some stuff. I was young. I was brash. I get it now. I matured. I've learned a lot. And I think that's fine. Because who doesn't want to see CM Punk at WrestleMania one more time? It'd be cool to see it. Especially, talk about Cody finishing the story. Punk has that too. The whole reason he left, not because I'm tired of wrestling, because you promised me I'd be the main event at WrestleMania, and you're just not doing it. You're not giving. That's all he wanted. That's all he wanted. That's a story in itself if he comes back and like, okay, now you get to be the main event at WrestleMania, and then you retire, and then you enter the Hall of Fame like that weekend. That's compelling stuff, man. That's the personal issues that's going to draw ratings. So I'd like to see it someday, but I would like to also see him finish the story in AEW because they were doing something special. And that's kind of like when it fell off for me too. Not because I disagreed or agreed with Punk or Bucks or whatever. It's just like after that, it just got very, I hate to say it, Ring of Honor. Because Ring of Honor is great. They're the best athletes in the world. But were you watching Ring of Honor on syndicated TV? Were you watching it every week?
Rarely.
Did you ever even keep up with it?
No.
It had nothing to do with their athleticism. There's just something that makes it feel like regional versus like this is a must. You can't miss TV. You need those ratings. So, but anyway, what the hell do I know, right? I'm not in the business. I'm not there. I got to go to work tomorrow. I'm just telling you my opinion.
I love that. We got to bring back wrestling segments, Jeff.
It's been a little while there.
You have a great perspective on wrestling stuff that I think is unique to our program. We got to do more wrestling segments. We'll just break it off into another segment.
I know it's just been tough. They're just like finally it got something that was Cody and Punk have been the most interesting thing to me, and not only as someone who was in it, but as a fan in a long time. After WrestleMania, I had the wind taken out of my sails just like everybody else. I felt like Lucy pulled the football from us again, and you felt Vince doing it. You felt Clark Gable doing his giggle. You probably hate me, and I love it. It's like the only way you're going to really change is not watch. But that being said, there's always that part you keep going, hoping for that moment, because you know how good it could be. It was good. It was great for that whole time Vince was gone. It was great, and you know it can be. So I am really curious of what's going to happen with Cody in Puerto Rico. Because I love them. I love me some, not because I'm half Puerto Rican, but yeah, that too. But I love me some Puerto Rican wrestling fans. They're going to go loco, man. It's going to be nuts. And I can't wait to see what they're going to do. And you see Bad Bunny is going to be fighting Damian Priest in a street fight.
That should be good.
Dude, that's going to be crazy. And if it's like the old 80s Carlos Colon versus Abdullah the Butcher, what those fans are used to, oh, man. The craziest thing that you ever heard some of the boys saying they got thrown at them always started with, so I was in Puerto Rico. Bayamon in the house, yes. Cabarojo in the house here. But you always hear, I got this blank thrown at me in Puerto Rico, and it was always something, man. So I am curious about that show. I am going to watch that next week. I am worried about Cody. Because is it going to be Triple H booking it and realizing that Cody's a star? Or is it going to be vindictive Vince? If he was a Garbage Pail Kid, it would be Vindictive Vince.
Vinny Vindictive.
Vinny Vindictive, right? And we'll see. And if that's the case, then Brock is literally going to destroy Cody. And Cody's like no slouch as far as like, you know, an collegiate wrestler. He's a bit of a shooter, but Brock Lesnar is Godzilla. He's such a different beast. So I would be really worried about what's going to happen in Puerto Rico and how they're going to do it. But all I know is every time Cody's on there and he says, what do you want to talk about? It feels so unscripted and refreshing that it's one of the few things that I still find a way to watch, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give this a watch. It's Cody on one side and it's Punk on the other. To me, those are the two most watchable athletes in professional wrestling right now. There, I said it.
Excellent, man.
That'll be our go home spot. There, I said it. So, but it's good, man. It was a lot of stuff. We were going to talk about a few more things we had. We were going to talk about Black Mirror. If you've not seen it, go check out that trailer. It dropped. Anthony, your videos have been great. I've been watching them all. I'm excited to hear what your thoughts on Black Mirror are, because I think they're going to make you make all new videos. Because Black Mirror always kind of bends reality. And supposedly he said, we're going to do something we've never done before. And I'm like, that's all you ever do with Black Mirror. JJ, you know, so if you saw that trailer, man, it's going to be, I think they're going to deliver the goods again.
The internet is a horror movie. Brought to you by Netflix.
That's it. That's all it is, man. And then we had Boba Fett coming out, speaking out, saying, hey, man, these writers kind of screwed my character. I had to sit back and watch another character take over my show. And then I was supposed to get the favor returned on his show, and they're like, no, we don't need you anymore, dog. So it's going to be interesting on how they handle Tamura speaking out against Disney. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up, but we will be back in the house next week, Cinco de Mayo, with Chuckles making his long-awaited return. So expect some Hawaiian shirt, maybe some pina coladas, and
some voices, some impressions.
Yes, voices and impressions. So we will do that. So yep, that's it. We'll end it with that, with you saying the internet is a horror movie.
The internet
is a horror movie.
It's a horror movie.
Be careful out there.